Hey folks, it's Spitz with Pixels and Pills from the EDTC Revolutions Conference in Washington, D.C. 2012. It is my pleasure and my joy to have with us Ross Fetterolf, who's SVP of Digital Strategy at Ignite Health. Ross and I go way back. Ross is kind of my mentor, the driver. He's ultimately responsible for what happened. And
Sorry, everyone.
And basically, again, we've worked together for years. And what fascinates me is that our kind of evolution in terms of our professional relationship corresponded with these incremental yet profound revolutions and milestones within digital health. Back in the day when I first started working with you, Facebook was just an anomaly, just an experiment that we took on to see how healthcare audiences would engage with social media. Mobile wasn't even seriously considered beyond, let's say, emergency rooms for physicians within the healthcare space. And just seeing ahead what has happened is really amazing. So what are some of your thoughts on basically those milestones, where things were, and the environment that we share today within digital health?
No, that's a great setup. So I mean, I can think back to 10 plus years ago and just starting out in kind of digital pharma, and just having a website was, that was your digital strategy, check the box, right? You had your site, you were good to go. And then you started to see people actually start to do some search engine marketing, right? As Google started to develop their PPC model and things. But I think back to a previous agency, we had a guy that would literally stay up all night tweaking meta tags, and he was so excited when you went up one place in the organic rankings, and that was digital marketing, right, at the time. And then somehow it all of a sudden became so important because you could measure everything, right? And then all of a sudden, and I think you and I used to go back and forth about this, but we started to develop these huge brand.coms, right? I think we traded an article that people were calling them like the brand.com palace, right? Where it was just
the Taj Mahals of brand.com.
The Taj Mahal of brand.coms. And so, I mean, I think some great work came out of that, certainly, but you do see that. I think nowadays, we're moving to a much more streamlined kind of user experience, focusing on meeting the user's needs and not really serving our needs, right, as a brand, and saying, I'm going to put out every piece of content that I possibly can.
You bring up an amazing point. Is back in the day, like even in 2000, at the turn of the millennia, a robust brand.com was essentially a downloadable PDF of the prescribing information.
That's right.
And then the website evolved into this monstrous Gorgon-headed creature, right, with tools and resources for multiple
and everything.
audiences.
Yes.
And then with media fragmentation pressures, with audiences coming from diverse channels in segmented, dynamic ways, it no longer made sense to create these large beasts. And ultimately, the fragmentation that the audience was experiencing in terms of how they were engaging with content ultimately dovetailed in our tactical recommendations within the healthcare digital space for creating smaller and smaller targeted experiences. And then the next evolution of that seamlessly ties into the overall picture is mobile. So what are some of your thoughts and experiences now within digital health mobile space? Just as we were excited about social only a few years ago, the mobile revolution is now a synergy between social and everything else that came before.
Absolutely. And I know, you had mentioned earlier in the conference just about that multi-screen data that Google just announced. I think that is mind-blowing data that, I don't know if you guys can link to it or something in this, but that data, I take so much away from that, and I think now we're thinking more and more about that multi-screen experience and what that looks like. And I think one of the key points there, 90% of people that consume any media do it on a screen, right? So thinking about maybe your user's need on the smartphone continues to their PC, or the television may prompt them to go to their phone for information and things. So I think that's absolutely where it's going. I think trying to figure out the synergies between those different screens and how people move seamlessly between them is huge. And wouldn't it be amazing, right? If with history repeating itself, wouldn't it be amazing if we went back to the brand.coms just being a PI at some point?
Exactly, it's some kind of repurposable dynamic PI. And you bring up a fascinating point, which is like when we were starting out in this racket, devices were everything, right? Which is like what you were focused on, and then they became progressively more irrelevant because there was a shift to content and the experience. And now with the evolution of mobile, the device, again, in the ascendancy of Apple, with a market cap of $630 billion, it's all about the gadget again.
It is about the gadget.
And then with the gadget comes the tactile, almost sensuous experience of interacting with kind of a synergy between hardware and software.
Yeah. Well,
so what do you think that means for the patient, for the doctor in the space that
I
we're
even,
in?
just to build on, one more point there too, like think about TVs, like smart TVs now, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually shopping for a TV, but it's you go in and it's, this one.
If you have recommendations for us.
At Digital Bulldog.
Right.
No, but smart TVs, and there's Apple TV now that bolts onto the set box, and the guy at Best Buy was saying, well, this one you can actually plug in and do searches on your TV, and I'm thinking, searches on my TV? Why would I ever want to have a keyboard on there? But yeah, so I know I took us off topic a little bit there, but
that's relevant.
But yeah, so as far as as far as the e-patient goes, I mean, to me, I think that hopefully the direction this moves is really beneficial to them, which is more about really understanding their needs and doing a better job of meeting those needs, and not doing more than that, right? So if I need to, if I have a challenge with a cumbersome device or a difficult administration process, I want to make sure that I can deliver an app or a mobile resource that helps get over that hurdle and does nothing more, right? So let's focus on that versus saying, I'm going to give them 500 options, and if that is their real need is understanding the device and how to use it better, then you know what, they're going to need to navigate to that and find that themselves. At this point, let's just focus on solving that one need and putting some of those others on in the back seat.
Right.
So.
It sounds to me like it's eliminating that barrier really between the device and the patient, right? Inputs, keyboards, all that, they're so awkward and cumbersome, and it seems to me just by the trajectory of your line of thought there that devices become all important, but in a sense they eventually become invisible.
Sure.
And in a sense part of the patient or part of the physician in terms of just biometrics, right?
Well, and you look at like the Nike Fuel Band is really that's crazy at our office now. People are all wearing those, and how many fuel points do you have and things, and that to me is shows that some of those kinds of technologies are going mainstream. Starting with that athlete community, but at a certain point, will it filter out to sort of the everyman, if you will, right? I mean, that would be really interesting to see these devices actually start to show up more, be used for more health kind of related, purposes and things. I think that would be really.
And then healthcare could kind of finally catch up in a sense, and perhaps even overtake because of its importance some of the other verticals that are already adopting these cutting edge gadgets.
Yeah, no, and I think that's one of the things that we've always agreed upon is that oftentimes when we look at innovation in pharma, you have to almost look outside of pharma and say, what else is going on out there? And let's take our cues from Coca-Cola, who's putting sugar into everyone, and think about actually how could we serve healthy messages up and doing the same things that they're doing.
Awesome.
So
Thanks so much, Ross. It's Ross Fetterolf, SVP of Digital Strategy at Ignite Health with Spitz. We're finally agreeing.
I know.
It's amazing. We've come this far.
Yeah, celebrate this moment in time or bookmark this or something.
We're going to duke it out soon.
That's right.
And we're over at EDTC Revolutions in Washington, D.C. 2012. Signing off. Thanks so much, folks.
Thanks, everyone.